Okay, so that's the cover page first. This is the SBIR. This is the SBIR is for the small businesses, and you have your own company, or if you collaborate with the universities, the faculties, and so that's some kind of promoting the business. So when you finish, you graduate, you have any interesting ideas, you can develop some grant application like that and get, so for 6 months, you can get right now, the range is $150,000. For 6 months, you prove your concept. So this is the money you will have, you don't need to pay back. You just use for test your idea. So there's a general information is on there, on the company information, who's the first PI. In this case I had my own company and applied for the faculties from School of Optometry as I was working for them. So this is the first page. As I said, it's a bunch of the regular information. And then you have here the page that shows the total amount. That was the 250K. And this is the company information is in there. You have to fill out. Everything's in electronic, right? There's another things. So you have to use to or have some sort of proficiency on using the NIH web page. It's very strict. So the rules is very strict, especially in terms of the safety. So you have to log in and finish and save, update, and then log out. So, so let's start from here. As you see, you have to type your text as much as, how to say, without spacing to get more information. And it's very interesting. In the grant applications, there is a limitation of your writing. Sometimes 15 page, sometimes it is the abstract, for example, 1 page. You can't go over the 1 page, so it means that your idea, what you have, to squeeze it as much as you can. As you see here, no spaces, full, and there's in the sides from the left and right, as much as you can. So that's this purpose. It's not just to type like that. So you have to take an advantage. Here, as we explained in whole 2 years project, that much in text, we explain on that what we want to do. So I give you some basic idea what was it. That was, most like I mentioned before, that was a gaze control. So the observe the person's eye and then makes magnify that image, which the person looks at the field, magnify and then put this image peripheral vision. So if you get older, is our real area where we are seeing these objects getting less sensitive. But our peripheral vision is always intact. So in the older people, to make them comfortable their vision, so this is the idea, use some sort of a Google Glass, you remember? So it magnify the area and then reflect the area, the peripheral vision, so which is around this retina. So if you think we have theoretical is in our eyes like this, you have the lens, and then you have in a point is in the retina. So you have in optical nerves, there's the much sensitive area in the eye. So the peripheral vision is in here. So normally you have this image coming there, and if this area doesn't work, so you can actually reflect this, the vision maybe is that way. So that is the special tools what we plan to do, and it is the grant. So make this vision move this area where the person can see. So the purpose of that, some places explain, then usually the tools what we have currently, the patient or the person required to special training to get used to the perceived environment. We claim that with this device, the person doesn't need a special training, just like a glass. You give the device, the person can continue to see. So that was the idea for this glimpse project. So we described this basically here. You will see that we have more detail later. So narratives is the very short description on your idea, the benefits of your idea. So what it is, if you have this great idea, everyone has that, but what's happened if you succeed? You put on this narrative part. As you see, pretty short, because the person who review your grant goes that process, maybe read the abstract, and then look at the narratives, and then make some mind. If it's interesting, they continue to read your proposal. So here you have to give them where you make your research, your facilities. We described here there's the company and then the other two PIs laboratories. We have to explain what they have, what kind of tools they have. It's very important, again, if you propose something, you have to convince the evaluator person that you have this capacity. Right? That's very important because you're asking for $250,000 and then they want to know, do you have that capacity? So if you collaborate with the university, you have a big chance because universities always have that opportunity, the labs, facilities, you have a big chance. But as in a company, let's say your own company, you have to also convince as the reviewer you have that capacity. Is in knowledge, one thing, right? Your profession, whatever you have, and these tools, you say, I will develop this project in this facility, what I have as an owner, company owner, and I have such and such tools. So here we describe that, and as in the engineering company, what I had, and then as in experiences, what I did with this vision-related works. I explained there also the UAV facilities and described in the section. So you have to put that information as resources. Equipments, again, that is the PIs, their labs at UAB, and this is the shop I had. I provided the information for them, but what I had as a tool to develop. So as you can imagine, this was my side business as I work in UAB. This all project developed on the weekends on the rest of the UAB. So very important, the conflict of interest. So I had to, for example, make a special contract with the UAB that I will not use UAB facilities or resources during this process. Otherwise, we call it double dipping. It's very crucial things. We have to be really careful on that. If you do some work from outside, if you have some contract, you have to always careful not, you affect on your the conflict of interest issues. So very careful. So you provide, of course, a biographical sketch for each PIs as they contributed. But only mine is there, and then of course it comes in other PIs, and I didn't put them here. And then you have some sort of the budget you have to make. So that's so crucial. It's so difficult to put together. Reason is you have to be reasonable. So if you put, for example, the $30,000 computer, then you have to prove that this $30,000 computer is required for, let's say, a very high-speed or high-density information process. Right? Let's say you make some deep learning or big data analysis, you need high-speed computers. So you have to be really rational on that. Sometimes your proposal probably rejected because it's not rational numbers. So that's the pretty difficult part. So you have to figure out from your budget how do you tailor your numbers. So at the end, you play with the numbers, right? That's because you have some sort of an idea how much you ask, so you have to divide this number a certain way that makes some sense. This is also a crucial part. So justification, when you justify your budget, you have the numbers. So that is always the faculty is justified as a percentage of time. So this money, for example, this comes from the government and then goes to the company and is PIs, the faculty. So faculty usually employed in the university is 9 months. So from the 9 months, they have to say, I will put my 10% of my time for this project. So this 10% comes from here, goes to UAB account, from the UAB accountant goes to PI's salary. So that's the reason they put them certain the percentage of based on the base salary, right? If it's in the base salary 100,000, so this with the 10% goes there, you $10,000 for PIs in salary contributing. So the 90% of this 9 months, so it means that is the 1 month they dedicate their time on that project. So this something also important to allocate your time. So if you have, for example, multiple grants, you cannot make more than 100%. So that will be automatically calculated. So you have to tailor your, the participation for each grant certain way that also makes sense, right? So some projects say it's 70%, some is this 90%, so or 30%, you have already 100%. So you have no time for the third or the fifth, the grant application. So you have to really make it reasonable. If you have, for example, a good chance to get another grant, then you have to reduce your contribution here in the next application or in the on-time application. You can say, I will, for example, devote 5% a year because you have a 5% for the next coming grant. So you have to really think about that. So research plan is every application require that, and then you provide all kind of documentation. Each one's a separate document. You have to upload is a specific aims. We will see that in short minutes. And then you have strategy. How do you develop your project? You have to clearly define. If you have a human subject, you declare that what kind of experiment is IRB, right? You have to have that. And is animal involved? You have to declare that. And then we have targets enrollment. The children, if it's involved, you have to explain that. And then leadership plan. So, and then contractual agreement. For example, you might have the extra company, very short period of time, you might give some contract for some survey, for example, right? Or something, doing some engineering work extra. So you have to have this agreement. There's the losses. So major part, convincing part, specific aims. So that part is actually the core of your grant. So that tells why you are doing this research, why it's significant, we will see that here. What is the new? You're asking some money, but what is your contribution? So you have to put there aims, what you achieve at the end of your research. So here you put like survey what we did or what you did on your assignments. So here you show that you are aware of what is going on the market or on the research field. You convince them with your explanation. So that's, for example, written from one of my PI. He is an expert in this low vision field. So they put it together, and then they have a significance, how important that research, why we are doing that. That's also, again, a bunch of references and background information you get from the survey. You have to put there. As you see this here, many sections there. Barrier is central field vision. The rehabilitation, low vision rehabilitation, what is the problem, what is the current technology, why is this different. So you put all information on this part is the significance. So another things for the specific for SBIR, innovation. So the small business grant is there to motivate the people who create workforce, so to contribute to economy. So then, what is the, if this your research produce some sort of a product, you can sell it or contribute that field. That should be something innovative, otherwise can't be in a product. So you have to put there, why is this innovative? Why is this different? So you have to put it here. The impact, for example, in this case, we claim that that will be the training for low vision patients easier, much comfortable, and much convenient. So the claim is in there. Also, it is marketable product. So the money that comes from the government actually contribute to economy. So you have a new product, and maybe a new market, etc., etc. So you have to explain that. And some explanation on how it works. As you see here, the basic picture, we put them in the like as in the camera, overlapped with your visual field, and they directed on different section of this in the eye. So basic idea, we put them there. As you see, there is not much images, just basic concept. We sent them, so we convince the reviewer. See another pictures in here, how it works, explain them next. So as you see, the text will be like that, and then if you have this device, it will be magnified in the peripheral vision, so the person can see much better. So that is the whole idea. Okay. Come on, some developing these components. We explained there, some electronic there, some test approaches there, calibration, because that will be theoretically for each person different. You have to have an option to calibrate for the person who is using the device. How do we calibrate? What kind of machines we will use for the calibration? So that's explained here. As you see, it's pretty specific, very specific in approaches in here. You don't need to understand everything what we hear, so just the concept. So what kind of criteria you need? You have to just know that if you submit something like that, what sections you need. But for each field which you apply, there will be different information, of course. And different, sometimes you add more information, less information, depends on what is the project manager asks for. Okay. Concepts, you have the copy, you can read them if you're interested. And then here, just as the plan, roughly timeline. Again, important concept, you have to, this time plan or project development plan, convince your reviewer. Is what you say here is feasible or not. So anything you claim here should be consistent with the person who is doing or institution is achieving. So you have an engineering process, if you put them there in the 6 months, for example, yeah, I will develop, I'm making up now, it's high-speed computer, 1 month. So how many engineers do you have? Is it 1 month? One man, one engineer, 1 month? Can you do that? No. So something like that, you have to convince it is in the here how many time you put. So that was 12 months, they changed 6 months. As we applied, it was in the 12 months, 1 year. Now you have this whole process, 6 months, but they are asking less in terms of SBIR. So you have to maximum 150,000. As you see, we applied the 250,000. We received the 250 for the 1 year. So you have to have a plan, reasonable plan. How do you develop your the grant? Human subjects, because this will test it on the low vision patients, is we have to write that. What we do, how do we do, how many people, what kind of race. So probably I have that table somewhere. You have to explain that. Women and minorities, sometimes is positive, get you extra point if you include women's minorities. To get you a better point, yeah, here's the table. There's the required for subjects. So how many subjects in different categories you have to put. It should be homogeneous distribution. Children, if involved. So leadership plan, who may make what, so you have to put there. On this, who is a project leader, PIs, their job distribution, and then of course your literature. So you have to include your literature. It's better include your own literature on this field as well. So you can convince your reviewer that you are expert on the field. So usually you provide that information in your CV, and you have to put related papers, publishing, presentations on your CV. Also here, you have to put your the documents you reviewed as in a regular format they ask for you. So that is, as I said, I guess is the final. There's the contractual agreements. Again, it is how much money allocated and who doing what. The contract was with me, so as in the contract is PIs has a contract with the company, so they have to make it in a formal contract and how much money paid. Because that money, 250K, come to the company when the company paid the EAP. So it works that way. There's a reason then, as an, if you are a company owner, you have to make a contract with the university or vice versa. So that is, as I said, 60, 70 pages, roughly, and then I extract what I thought is useful for you to know, and also put you on your canvas. So it is very complex process, so, but it's a special skill. If you develop that skill, then you can actually make a living from that grant. So as a the small business owner, or as a faculty or researcher, it's a really interesting approach. There's many companies living with this grant money in West from the small business grant. So that is the two phases. You have the first phase like that, you apply, and then after, if you are successful with your first phase, so whatever you're claiming here, and then you apply for second phase, which is up to $5 million. So the grant money is funded from